Ladies, if you're working out consistently, trying to eat well, but your body just isn't responding the way it used to, it's probably not because you're doing something wrong. Most women hit a point in their lives where effort stops translating into results, and it's usually because fitness isn't being supported by the rest of their life. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through 5 reasons I see most often, especially in busy moms, and what's actually happening underneath. Now let's jump right in. Reason number 1, and probably the one that irks me the most, not because it's anything that you're doing, it's because of what's coming so popular in the fitness world and is leading so many women astray. Now, the reason is there's not enough compound movement, but there's so confusion about what compound movement is because you're seeing everything but compound movements from a lot of different people. A compound movement is a multi-joint movement that works more than one muscle group in more than one way. So take a squat, for example. Sounds basic, right? As you're lowering down, you're activating not only your glutes, you're activating your quads and your hamstrings, especially on the way up. And this also takes core movement because with all exercises, we want our core to help stabilize and ground us in that movement so we can have better control to maximize the movement. You've got your squat, you've got your rows, you've got your overhead presses, you've got your hinges like an RDL. You've even got movements like a barbell hip thrust or a dumbbell hip thrust. What a compound movement is not is a side lunge, step up, overhead press, or a squat and a press, or a backwards lunge, hinge, RDL, up. No, we've got to stop this, ladies. A compound movement is one movement only, but it is working multiple muscle groups. That way you're maximizing your workout. So if you're short on time, I would highly recommend putting together a workout that is comprised of compound movements. That way not only are you getting in somewhat of a full body workout depending on what you're doing, but you're maximizing and optimizing each movement for your body. Movements like these are especially important for women 35 and over. Maintaining muscle is what keeps our metabolism going. It's what creates bone density, and it especially helps support our joints because the more muscles we have surrounding the areas that usually become problematic as we get older, like our hips or our knees, the muscles are what helps our body stay stabilized and strong to support us for everyday life. The second reason, and a lot of times we don't even realize it, is under eating. This is especially common with busy moms. Under-fueling earlier on in the day typically leads to overeating in the evening. Let's say you wake up, you grab something small to munch on, you have a cup of coffee, you stay busy throughout the day, and hunger really doesn't hit you until evening time. By the time your body finally slows down, it asks for the energy it didn't get earlier, and that gets interpreted as lack of discipline when it's actually biology. So when this happens, energy drops, recovery slows, and your workouts stop producing change. And if you're especially not eating enough protein, that can absolutely have an adverse effect of all that effort you put into those workouts and staying on top of your fitness routine. So when you're working out, your muscles are essentially under stress. So as you're working out, your muscles literally create micro tears in them. And in order for them to repair and rebuild stronger and bigger, they need fuel. They need protein, complex carbohydrates, and healthy fats. The right nutrients have to aid in that process. And then putting the workout aside, not eating enough protein can also have a ripple effect on your mental, emotional, and physical health. So front loading that protein and then making sure we get enough other nutrient dense foods, including healthy fats and complex carbs, is imperative if we want our lifestyle to support our fitness efforts. Reason number 3, chronic stress. So your nervous system does not separate stress from different sources, and a stressed body will resist change. So that's when we have to find ways to create micro changes and implement small ways to reset our nervous system throughout the day. And in turn, a regulated body will respond. So that means we need a regulated approach to leading a healthy lifestyle. And that is why I try to do the same things on repeat every day. I wake up around the same time. I eat pretty much the same foods, maybe in variations. If I get tired of it one way, I will switch it up, maybe cook it a little different, or put it in rotation and add it back to the menu the next week. So my meals look almost identical from day to day. Why? Because it's easy. I don't have to think about it. It's not another decision that I have to make. It takes the stress off of trying to figure out what we're going to eat during the day when I have a million other things on top of schoolwork that I have to dedicate myself to. And so when you have a system that works for you, you're creating predictability. So if you know you and your family like certain foods, rock with it until y'all get tired of it and then you want to switch it up. You know what works for you, you know what feels best for you, and you know what's going to give you results. Because when stress stays elevated, inflammation stays elevated, and your body becomes resistant to change. And this is why so many women say that I'm doing everything right, but nothing isn't working, because the body doesn't feel safe enough to change yet. All right, ladies, reason number 4, not using enough weights. This is another very common thing that I see in women. And if you're wondering why you can't put on muscle, why you're really not seeing results, probably because your muscles aren't stressed enough. And remember, we talked about your muscles being stressed and undergoing those microscopic tears and what it takes for them to mend and heal and grow bigger and stronger. That is where the heavier weights come in. When we work out, our goal is not to continue to do the same things the same way. The goal should be to progress in weight and or reps. Either way, the intensity is what has to progress. So again, if you're sticking with those same weights, then your muscles have pretty much adapted to what you're doing and they see no need to change. So if you're using 10-pound weights for 3 months, there's no change in the intensity in that. And if your muscles are not being challenged, then they're going to be like, okay, well, no challenge here. No need of us changing. See what I mean? But seriously, we can't lift baby weights yes, there are certain times when that's called for, but over time, if we're doing strength moves, we have to increase those weights, ladies, okay? Also, if you never switch up your routine, and you're only doing cardio, running every day, high intensity, and not focusing on those strength moves, then you're probably not going to see those results as quickly as you want to. And no, lifting heavy will not make you bulky. Eating in surplus or more than what your body needs, it's what makes you bulky. Also, ladies, please keep in mind, you have to also focus on recovery, because if you do not allow your body to recover, then your body doesn't have the time that it needs to create the change that I know you want to see. Because during sleep, that's when all the magic happens. And I mentioned this in the last video about the 5 simple habits for moms. But during the night, when you are asleep and get an appropriate amount of sleep, that's when all the magic happens. Your body is in a state of repair and recovery. There are different ways to recover. Sleep is one, yes. You can also do an active recovery where you're still moving, but the movement and the exercise is at a lower intensity, like walking, or maybe yoga, or doing some light stretching, or you can just completely take the day off from fitness. Forget about it, come back to it the next day or the day after that. But the whole point is that we have to include recovery in this process. And reason number 5 is not committing to a program or plan for a minimum, and I'm being lenient with this first number, 4 to 12 weeks. So if every time you're ready to work out, and you find the latest video from the latest influencer and it's something different every single time, yes, the movement still counts, but what we want to do is challenge our bodies over time so we're not doing this and that and all over the place, because that also creates stress when it's all said and done. Because if you're trying to figure out what to do next and you're watching random videos, there's no structure to that. So our bodies need a structured routine to use the same exercise. It may be redundant, but redundant is okay in this context. So for instance, I have an upper body day, a lower body day, and a full body day. I repeat those exercises for a good 8 to 12 weeks until I'm ready to move on to a different phase. And with each of those weeks, I am progressing either in reps or in weights. So if your fitness feels stuck right now, most of the time it's just because you need more support around the effort you're already giving. When your body is fueled, recovered, and regulated, it will respond. Fitness works best when your life supports it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button. And let me know below if there's something in particular that you'd like us to talk about, and I'll see you in the next video.